Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, the same layer 13, and today we are about to get underway here for the first of a 14 race season for the PTG NASCAR series. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, my experience with broadcasting races in Forza Motorsport goes back to early 2018 on Forza Motorsport 7. And I started broadcasting NASCAR races in about late 2019, early 2020. So it's been about 5 years, but one consistency has been that if I'm not racing in it, typically whenever Ludicrous Speed, who now goes by PTG Speed, starts to run a NASCAR series, generally I will go ahead and I will broadcast the series, and we are here once more. It's been several years since he has hosted a NASCAR series. It used to be known as the NX1CS Cup Series, then it got changed to various other terms. It currently now exists under the PTG branding. Today will be the first race. So this season will be a little different compared to prior seasons. In the past, it was all locked tunes across the entire season. In the past, as the games, as we were locked to Forza Motorsport 7, you were loaded with a schedule that was incredibly road course heavy, and also you normally had a lot more points given out across the entire field. Sometimes you would have stages involved, a lot of other stuff. Things are a lot more simplified now. This season, you have fixed tunes, but only on the ovals. On the road course races that will be occurring later in the season, that will be... Oh, hello, there's something gone wrong there. On the road course races that will be later in the season, those will be open tuning. So you'll see an interesting little bit of back and forth. Some drivers may be good with their own tunes, but will not be good on the ovals with the fixed tunes. Another thing to consider, no stages at all. You have the normal amount of points for completing the race, but other than that, and 1 point for pole and 1 point for the fastest in race lap, there is nothing else. There is no stages or anything like that. Also, in today's event, we are going to be looking at a field of about 14 to 15 drivers. Now, not all of them are anticipated to last the entirety of today's race, but we will get underway in a little bit once everyone else is properly rated up. It's acting like I have become the lobby host, and I don't know why that has happened. I don't know if someone has dropped out or not. But right now we are in a holding pattern after qualifying has been completed, and unsurprisingly, it is SRD Shredder who has ended up on the pole position once more after a quick 3-lap qualifying event. So he will have the preferred lane of choice to start today's race off with. Today's race will be a 100-lap affair here at Daytona, nothing real crazy. It will be nice, sunny all the way through, and it will end well before the lights start coming on. So you won't have to worry about visibility. Series does anticipate visiting Daytona a second time later in the season. That one could end up being a little bit more interesting when it comes to the different track conditions. But stand by as we wait for confirmation as to what's going on right now with these lobbies. Hey. Oh, new lobby. Okay, got it. All right, bye, everyone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are currently in a bit of a holding pattern as the final pre-race drivers briefing is going on right now, as we are preparing to get underway for the race itself proper here. General strategy for today's race is going to be very simple. It is anticipated to be a 2-stop race. A fuel tank will last you about 37 laps. With yellow flags and lots of drafting, there is a potential to be able to extend the fuel tank to 50 laps, but I don't know if anyone would want to push or risk pushing their tires that far. Still, 37 laps is anticipated to be the length of a normal fuel tank if you're not doing any saving. In this game, NASCAR has 3 different tire compounds, a soft tire, medium tire, and hard tire, but we're going to be seeing this series running primarily on just a hard tire compound in today's race. So don't expect anyone to jump onto the softs. Mediums might end up being on the table if some drivers make their final stop very late in the event, or conversely, if drivers want to try and jump onto mediums early on. Thing is that on the ovals, where you have a lot of drafting into play, there's not usually a lot of difference when it comes to the overall tire performance. It just ends up being a matter of how soon is it going to be until the tires start falling off. We've seen drivers try to run soft and medium tires here at Daytona and IFEA's NASCAR series. Real quickly, let's look at some of the drivers who will be taking place running around in today's event. PTG Speed will be driving as normal in a number 40 Home Depot Camaro. For some reason, we don't seem to have the ability to look at anyone's paint schemes, and I do hope that's just a bug in the lobby. I'm hoping it's not going to stick with us through the entire event. He's going to be joined by PTG Knuckles and another Camaro. SRD Shredder is back in his normal machine, the number 91, I believe it is, in a Mustang. PTG Little Caesar is his teammate this season. There are championships to consider, both for drivers and manufacturers, or drivers and teams, but I won't really get into that until once we get to the second race of the season and everything's kind of played out a little bit. TNR Larry B is going to be running one of our Camaro entries. Down Prime 77 was a last-minute entry, not anticipated to be a full season entry. This may just be a few one-offs here and there, but he is your defending IFEA NASCAR champion, so keep an eye on him. PTG Jammer is going to be running another one of the Camrys. PTG Nebu, who took a top 10 result in last week's tour at Indy 500, will be trying to back up his oval prowess. He's going to be running one of the Mustangs. VER TTJ 111, who is a winner of the Daytona Oval back when it was an X1CS. He is going to be running the Ford Mustang today. Toaster Lord is going to be in the Mustang as well. Toaster Lord is not anticipated to make it the entire race, though, so he may not be around by the midpoint of the latter stages of the race. TFE Matter has not been in a race car or racing series for a little while, but he is jumping back in one of the Camaros. Acquire Melanie has been MIA from racing for a little bit as well due to personal issues. However, things have turned around. She's going to be able to jump in and represent one of the Toyota entries. Shoplifting is going to be in another one of the Mustangs. NFL Racer is going to be in the Camaro. NFL Racer has shown himself to be very, very capable over the course of the season. The big question is going to be his availability. But if availability is not too much of an issue, he could be a dark horse for the championship this season. And then you have YOLO Menace 001. YOLO is going to be representing one of the Camrys as well. So we're looking at a 15-car 15 car field for today's event once they get Yellow Menace to properly ready up, and then we will get underway here at Daytona. We're anticipating that this race will probably take about 2 hours or a little bit less. Now, for a lot of the drivers here that have already been running laps in practice, they've already knocked out qualifying and have had to go through a pre-race driver briefing that usually lasts about 15 to 16 minutes as well. So it's going to feel a lot longer than that. For those of us on the outside, it's going to be closer to 2 hours. Also, I do want to apologize if the quality of the broadcasting is a little bit lower. I am dealing with some incredibly, unbearably chapped and damaged lips. I bit the absolute crap out of my lower lip on the right side about a week ago, and I've tried to talk to absolutely nobody for about 5 days to try and let it heal up. It's finally in a okay-ish position, but my mouth is giving me a lot of problems. Anything else, my lips are giving me a lot of problems and pain right now. So if I'm more quieter in this broadcast than what you normally hear, be aware that's probably the main reason. We're also trying to knock out as many ads as we can early on in the events. So that way we can get ahead of ads, kind of front load the broadcast so we can run as much of the later part of the broadcast with minimal ads if possible. As I am monetized on Twitch, which is kind of a shame because I still haven't gotten a payout for it, as I am monetized on Twitch, I am required to run ads once every 15 to 18 minutes. So I'm trying to get ahead of them, and I can open up bigger and bigger gaps by front loading the broadcast with ads if I so choose. Just waiting right now for them to load onto the circuit here. Once again, SRD Shredder is going to be the host. No, not the host, the pole setter for today's event. Not surprisingly, SRD Shredder is one of the very few drivers who are actually going to be running a wheel in today's race. 100 lap affair, so you shouldn't have to worry about fatigue too much. So Shredder could end up having a significant advantage in today's event. Apparently everyone thought I was in spectate mode. No, racing mode, not spectate mode. Yeah, I'm most definitely in spectate mode. They seem to think I'm not in spectate mode, but I am in spectate mode here. All right, and we are on track. We'll have to give everyone just a little bit of time as they get the race lobby properly ordered up here. All right, so starting on pole position is going to be the number 10 of SRD Shredder. And in second position will be Shoplifting, the number 2 Xbox Machine. Follow that up with, we believe, PTG Speed and the number 40 Home Depot Machine, followed by PTG Jammer, who is going to be in the number 43 Toyota. Following that will be NFL Racer in the number 53 Warner Enterprises Machine. Sixth place will be Daytona Prime in the 77 Budweiser that he won a championship with. TFB Matter, it might not be TFB Matter. It might end up being someone else here. Who's going to be next? Oh, and there's our answer, is going to be PTG Little Caesar, who's going to be starting 7th in the Tide Ride number 32 Food City Machine. Absolutely love that paint scheme. It's very authentic NASCAR-esque. Then it's going to be PTG Neb, who is going to be lined up just a little bit behind. A little bit of contact as they have a little bit of a hiccup trying to get everything lined up there. Followed by TNR Larry B in the 67. And it looks like we're having some issues here trying to get the order properly done here in the midfield. It looks like that is TJ, who is supposed to be just behind Larry. Then TJ, then it will be Toaster Lord, who is in the number 19 Division Oil Machine. That will be TFB Matter in the number 91, followed by PTG Knuckles. I absolutely love that scheme. I actually have a scheme similar to that, but it's very low quality. I'm glad that someone was able to do that scheme justice. Yellow Mist will be in the number 99. Very bizarre paint choice. And then HYR Melanie is going to be in this absolutely cursed machine that I will talk as little about as possible in today's event. There's going to be Shredder and Shoplifting at the head of the field. Again, we are anticipating it to be a really simple 2-stop race, but sim damage is on. That is the big difference. Most of Ludicrous Speed's prior NASCAR series have not had sim damage. They've been fueling tires. With this series having sim damage, that'll be something interesting to keep an eye on. The other thing will be yellow flags as well. Yellow flags are mandated to take 2 laps, even if it's a very short and easy to clean up mess. So that will knock out racing laps very quickly here. The field begins to double up. There will be 100 laps here at Daytona. We'll have 7 rows of cars and then 1 more at the very back of the grid. And realistically, everyone has a chance to win this, but first you have to make it to the finish. Field comes out of the final corner. Everyone is doubled up and ready to go. It'll be the first of a moderately long season. There's a championship at the line, and there's Daytona glory at the line. But first off, they have to get out into turn 1 clean. Everyone is stacked up, and once again, we are off racing here at Daytona International Speedway. SRD Shredder holds the inside line. Shoplifting holding station on the outside, but Shredder gets a big push from behind by PTG Speed. Shoplifting is not getting anything of the sort. Already a little bit of lag farther back in the grid. Someone is dropping back in the order. No one is willing to work with Shoplifting in the early stages of the race by the looks of it. The inside line is already formed up very smoothly as PTG Speed and NFL Racer on the inside. Shoplifting trying to make something work on the outside, but I have to go way back before I see a second car on that outside line. That is PTG Little Caesar. Wow, Shredder gets shunted right out of the lead position, and he's all the way to the outside. He is wide, 3 wide. There is no one all the way on the extreme outside who's willing to help him. 2 cars in a wall farther back in the field. There are 3 wide. There are 4 wide for a 3rd position there. Shredder is just going to back out of it and try to back it down. Yellow Mist is brought into the pits, as has Toaster Lord early on here. There's still 3 wide, and SRD Shredder, who started right at the front, is already being shipped right to the back of the grid, and it is PTG Speed and Shoplifting who are now in a near-dead heat as they go down the back straightaway, but Shoplifting has nobody working with them, while NFL Racer is giving PTG Speed a little steady push on the back straightaway. Now they go into turn number 3. Shoplifting completely alone. PTG Little Caesar now looks a little bit high on the track. And I think they're slowing down under yellow flag conditions, potentially for the incident that happened between Yellow Menace and Toaster Lord on lap 1 in turns 3 and 4. So the field has already gone back down to single file order right now. And again, these events are required to have 2 yellow flag laps. So we are under yellows right now. This lap will probably be the second lap under yellow, I imagine. So we should be going green on lap 5. Yellow Menace and Toaster Lord have already repaired the damages on their car. And I imagine the two of them will be trying to catch up to the rear of the grid here. Big issue is going to be that this duo is about a lap and a half down. Now, they will be going at about 190 miles an hour, while the lead group will be going at about 60. So they'll be going about 3 times the speed of the leaders. But it does look like they're going to catch. And we'll line up at the rear of the grid here. So we should be able to go green at the end of this lap. Big thing to take note of, Shredder, who is anticipated to lead a bunch of laps at the head of the field like he normally does, got shifted out of the lead in the first 2 laps, went to the extreme high line, and fell back to mid-pack, and now he's going to have to fight his way back through the grid here. At the front is PTG Speed and Shoplifting Ludicrous Speed, now known as PTG Speed, has spent years trying to win one of these Daytona races. He's won dual races, where they get half the field racked up to do a qualifying race. Those are normally only about 20 laps in Forza, instead of the normal 80 laps that you see in normal NASCAR. But they have not doubled up yet, so it looks like we will go another lap under yellow here. And TNR Larry B is making a pit stop, so that's going to cycle him to the back. He's not the only one. Dino Prime and HYR Melanie also want to go ahead and pit now. So again, 37 lap tank. You do the math, you pit now, that would not get you to the end on just one more stop. You pit now, lap 5, add 37 to that, that'd be 42, add another 37 to that, that'd be 79. Those numbers aren't adding up. It'd still be about 21 laps shy. So I wonder if these 3 are just trying to get off sequence with everyone else so that way they can be running a different strategy, potentially run more laps in cleaner air later in the event. SRD Shredder seems to be having some level of connectivity issues. I've seen him blinking in and out of existence several times, sort of lagging all over the place. It's been interesting because I've been watching him and racing with him for most of this game's existence, Forza Motorsport 8's existence. He has not been having those issues for the most part, but connectivity issues may end up playing a factor into his ability to fight for the win here. We're only about 5% of the way through the race. As the field begins to double up, Ludicrous Speed will lead the field on the inside. Shoplifting will be on the outside. It will be PTG Little Caesar on the outside of NFL Racer. Row 3 will be VER TTJ 111 and SRD Shredder. Row 4 will be PTG Neb and TFB Matter. Row 5 will be PTG Duo of Jammer and Knuckles. Then row 6 will be Toaster Lord and Yellow Menace, who brought out that yellow flag. Then it will be Larry, Dino, and Melanie, as those 3 drivers all pitted under that yellow flag to get off sequence with everyone else. So take 2 here at Daytona. They come back to the line, and we are underway once again here. And the outside line just did not get going at all. Shoplifting incredibly slow off the line. Immediately, PTG Speed pulls out to a massive lead. Now TJ pushes NFL out to a big lead. Now TJ's through the entire top 3 positions, all by drivers who's restarted on the inside line. Shredder gets shifted to the high side again. No one works with him, and Shredder drops all the way back to about 8th position this time. Big split in the back third of the field. Seems like the back few drivers are not able to keep up with the lead group this time. So now Little Caesar goes out in front of Shoplifting in just half a lap. Will Shoplifting be able to push Little Caesar around Speed on the outside here? That 32 is really wide as they go through the corner. Almost, I think I saw someone hit the wall in the back of the field farther back, but at the front, Little Caesar leads his first lap under NASCAR circumstances, going around the outside. He's got a line behind him with Shoplifting and Shredder pushing. So 5 cars packed up on the inside, 3 cars on the outside, might be 4 as that 97 is looking to the outside line there. Coming down to the backstretch once again, second car in the outside line, Shoplifting is really sideways. That does not give Little Caesar the push and momentum that he needs, but still the 32 Tide Ride gets the nose in front of speed as they go into turn 3. Is 2x2 for top 6 positions. This time the inside line seems to be falling apart just a little bit outside the top 2. But that 32 of Little Caesar is really having trouble holding a nice smooth line. Speed leads at the start-finish line that lap. And yeah, it looks like the back 4 drivers, Gammer, Melanie, Larry, and Menace, all just have no interest in trying to run with the main pack. They're just kind of hanging out far, far back away from the rest of the field here. Still side by side. Little Caesar squeezes PTG speed down just a little bit into turn 3, but then backs off a little bit, washes a little high, lets the 40 have the clean air. That 32 is so high though, coming out of turn 4 as the banking drops away. He's really sliding wide and it's giving the possibility for Shoplifting to get inside of him. And if that happens and the 32 is not ready for it, it could end up turning him right in front of the field and cause a big stack up. SRD Shredder now drops to the back of the pack. It seems like he is just not confident with the connectivity of his car, so he is not even going to try and contend for the lead. Not for a while, at least. Toaster Lord YT is now dropping off the back of the lead pack, so it is now a 10-car pack that leads. You have 3 cars on the outside, 6 cars on the inside, and then Shredder in the back is just kind of hanging on for the ride. The inside line is a lot better organized this time by, but now we see the 97 on the inside, but Little Caesar on the outside. Neb is on the outside, I believe, as well. I mean, we may have just seen somebody drop out of the event early on here. Yes, that is Toaster Lord, who has just dropped out of the event. Again, we didn't expect Toaster Lord was going to make it through the entire race, but it is always a shame when that is the case. So a 10-car pack. At the head of this field, Little Caesar has 3 cars pushing him, and has his car about 3/4 of the way ahead as they go into turn 3. Speed has NFL Racer and TJ push him on the inside, though. But it seems like Shoplifting and Little Caesar has a great run on the outside. They really seem to have the outside line figured out at this stage of the event. Still side by side throughout the entire field here. Interesting thing to know is that in this lead pack, I believe the only one who didn't pit on that yellow flag was Dino. So Dino is trying to stretch out his fuel mileage, I would imagine, running with this group in the back. Meanwhile, Jammer, Melanie, Menace, and Larry are just kind of running their own race on a different strategy. About 3 to 4 seconds off the lead pack. Oh, the 14 is all over the place. So TJ goes high, and now he's in a bad position. There's 2 cars in the wall, 3 cars into the wall. The 32 spinning out of control. He's into the outside wall. I believe Shoplifting may have been able to get away with it without any damage. No, Shoplifting's front end is destroyed. Little Caesar's able to bring it into the pits right away, but Shoplifting, the front of his car, is completely destroyed. And that will be the 2nd yellow flag of the day. You saw that TJ got off the inside line, and that's the big problem. You don't want to be on the inside line if you can help it. When you're trapped on the inside line, you can't really make moves. So he went high, tried to make something happen, but there was just no room where Shoplifting was and where Little Caesar was, and ended up causing the 2 of them to end up in a nasty instant there, right in the middle of the field. We're lucky that we didn't see more cars torn up. So we're going to go ahead and knock out an ad break under this yellow flag period here. Welcome back to Daytona here. Larry, Melanie, Shoplifting, and Jammer all went ahead and knocked out a pit stop under this 2-lap yellow flag period, so they will cycle to the back of the field here at Daytona. As you see the field rounding turn 2 and now beginning to run down the back straightaway, they'll start doubling up shortly here, but now it is still PTG Speed who is leading the event. He has led the majority of this race thus far, but now the best pusher who has been behind him, NFL Racer, is going to have to restart on the outside, and now TFB Matter and Dino Prime 77 have now cycled to the front of the field. Then you'll have PTG Knuckles and SRD Shredder, who will be along with VRT TJ, who will be a little bit behind them. And there is also Neb. Then you get to Yellow Menace, Little Caesar, and Shoplifting with 2 cars that had the biggest amount of damage. Little Caesar kind of got lucky. He was able to nurse the damaged car right into pit lane immediately. So he's actually now in front of all of the cars who actually pitted under the yellow flag period proper. So that's going to have a small, may end up being a no impact, but will have a small impact on how the strategy of the race goes forward, because Little Caesar is going to slightly be on a bit of a strategy on his own. But the entire field now is all gathered up 2 by 2 around the entire grid. PTG Speed has led most of the laps thus far on the inside line. NFL Racer is going to be on the outside. Instead of pushing, he is going to be leading the outside. 7 rows of 2 as they come by. For the second restart of the day, we are underway here once again at Daytona. And this time it looks like PTG Jammer just did not get going at all at the back of the field there. NFL Racer pinches Ludicrous Speed down, and now we see the 97, I believe that's Knuckles there, on the extreme outside trying to make something of it. There's no room out there. No one really wants to go to that extreme third lane. You can run 3 and even briefly 4 wide here at Daytona, but you really don't want to do it if you can help it. And NFL Racer, he's fast, but I don't know if that outside line is going to have the stability enough to really push him forward here. 53 outside, 40 inside, the 97, the 91, row 2, but that outside line really slows up, really backs itself up coming out of turn 4, and now all of a sudden NFL Racer gets a big push. There's a spin in the back. There's 2 cars. That's Jammer and Caesar, but both had an incident in the back of the field there. Jammer has already destroyed the front end of his car. Little Caesar's car also, I believe, is destroyed. Yes, we saw Little Caesar. We didn't see what sent him around, but something got him sideways, and he slid across the track, and he backed into the wall, and right before hitting the wall, Jammer, who was trying to avoid him in that small gap between the car and the outside wall, ended up hitting him from behind, and that will put us back under the yellow flag here at Daytona. And that kind of leads into the big issue that we're going to have here throughout the majority of the day. Some of these drivers, a lot of the guys you see at the front 4, and some of the other drivers like Dino and Shredder and Larry, they've been doing this for years. They know how to race NASCAR. They're very familiar with the intricacies of how these cars handle. But a lot of these guys who are PTG veterans, they are not NASCAR veterans. This is something brand new to them. This isn't something they really do a lot. They're really trying to figure out where to position your car, how to get runs, how to control your car when the rear end starts to slide. It really will have a massive knock-on effect as to how this race goes on. Something else that's going to have a massive knock-on effect, look at the fuel. This is our race leader, Ludicrous Speed. He hasn't even gone to 30% because we ran so many laps under the yellow flag here. Compare that to someone who pitted under the last yellow flag. That would be Little Caesar. He's still at 90% fuel, so you're just really not seeing people go through a lot of fuel. PTG Knuckles is going to pit. Dino Prime is going to pit. A lot of drivers in the midfield are actually going to go ahead and pit on this circuit here. So this will cycle Shredder up the grid, and will also cycle Shoplifting up the grid here. So now we see the field, regardless of where they were earlier, we see a much more distinct separation in strategies. Lap 16, if we went green the rest of the way, which the way this is going, I wouldn't count on that, but if we went green the rest of the way, you add 37 to 16, that'd be 52, 53. You add 37 to that, that would be 90. So all those drivers who pitted now, they are 10 laps short if they want to make it on just one more stop. But with how many yellow flags we've been seeing, they could get 10 laps back. Again, a lap under yellow flag here is worth about, basically you can do, in one lap, you burn off the amount of fuel that you would normally burn in about 2 to 3 yellow flag laps here. So with enough yellow, potentially you could see the entire field. With enough yellow, you could potentially see the current back half of the field from Knuckles on back all end up in a position where they are fine on fuel. The other thing to be concerned about slightly is going to be tire life. Everyone's running the hard tires, but how far are they going to last? That's a big question. It's going to be the right rear that's really going to be falling off the most. 20.1 for Ludicrous Speed, who has been leading most of this race. SRD Shredder, one of, I think, only 2 drivers who are using the wheel right now, who has not pitted since the start. He's at 19.8%, so not a lot of difference in tire wear thus far between the pad users and the wheel users, as the field is now starting to double up once again as we're preparing to go underway for what will be our 3rd restart here. Everyone's doubled up once again. Everyone's still on the lead lap. We've not had any long green flag stints yet in the event. So everyone still bungled up, but we already have 2 distinct strategies trying to play out here. As we come to the line once again. Lap 17, and we are green once again. Shredder leads Matter on the inside. NFL leads TJ on the outside. Already there's a lot of shaking up farther back, and NFL Racer immediately falls in line behind Ludicrous Speed. So we know that NFL just does not want to be leading. He wants to be a follower. He has no interest in leading. He just wants to push. So that leaves TJ on the outside line with no one to help him for right now. There goes Shredder to the outside. Shredder's going to be the one trying to give TJ a push on the outside line. But already the inside line has got a good train of 4 cars that'll really help them out here. TJ on the outside. He's got Shredder behind. There's another driver lined up behind. I think that might be Neb. And it's just enough to let TJ pull up alongside NFL Racer. They can't do anything to Ludicrous Speed yet. Everyone's really sideways as they come out of that final corner. Jammer and Knuckles are not able to keep pace with the lead pack, it seems. Neither is Melanie, neither is Little Caesar. So the back 4 drivers really having trouble keeping pace with the lead 10 cars on these restarts. Doesn't matter who it is in the back 4. It's almost even Steven, 5-5 on the inside and outside, but the outside line has almost no organization, and that's letting Ludicrous Speed hold the lead almost all the way to turn 3. TJ gets the nose just barely ahead going into turn 3, but the shorter, quicker way around means that Ludicrous Speed naturally filters back to the head of the field, and that 14 machine falls back in line with the 50 of NFL Racer. So now they come back to the start-finish line once again. And now they've lost PTG Neb from the lead group. And PTG Knuckles is nowhere near the front. So I don't know what's going on there with Knuckles as caused him to lose the back of the grid so quickly. I'm so concerned. I see Shredder lagging and bouncing across the track about once every lap or 2, and it's so much that's getting me very, very concerned. And I really hope that's just... Oh, is that him actually in the wall? I believe, yes, he was actually in the wall that time. The car is destroyed. I think he's the only one in this instance who may be able to stay green. Yeah, we stay green. But this will likely trap Shredder a lap down for the majority of the race. Meanwhile, Liz, Ludicrous Speed being pushed by NFL Racer. TJ is on the outside, but he has no one to help him. 5 cars on the inside and 1 car on the outside. That number does not work out in any world. So Lil Caesar back to about Melanie have all grouped together into a small 5-car pack. They're all probably going to try and draft and save fuel with each other as they're on a slightly different strategy from our lead group at the moment here. Our top 8 all still together. NFL Racer gets briefly shucked out of line by Matter, but saves himself and gets back in line real quickly there. You see SRD Shredder is already back out onto the track. They'll have to get back up to speed and hope that when the lead pack catches him, he can filter in without issue and get his lap back if, it's a big if, but if we have another yellow. Because now the field is starting to spread out, and once the field spreads out, it means the likelihood of yellow flags start going down a lot. DJ is doing a good job holding that outside line and actually trying to make moves happen against PTG speed here. But TJ doesn't really have any help. I'm starting to see somebody come to the outside. I believe that is Shoplifting. Yes, it looks like that is Shoplifting, who is coming on the outside and will try and push that Ford machine around the outside of the number 40 Chevy on the inside, and they are coming up on SRD Shredder as we speak. Right now at the back of SRD Shredder, you can see the lead pack slowly barreling down on him right now as they go down the back straightaway. They've not caught him yet, but when they catch his draft, it's going to be a mess because Shredder is not in a position that he can just hold the outside line and let them go by. He is going to immediately play factor to where these guys are going to be. They are 2 by 2 by 2 at the head of that lead pack. They are not going to... Oh! Hard to the outside wall! Who was that? I believe that may have been Matter or Dino, but that is a huge... Another car hard to the inside wall farther back. And that is going to be a yellow flag for sure, I imagine. PTG Jammer, his car is destroyed. Dino Prime. Everything in his car is absolutely demolished. What about this driver here? Yellow Menace. Menace, the car is absolutely destroyed. Melanie. Did they get through without issue? It does look like they did. And then just ahead of them is PTG Neb, who I think was the first driver to go into the outside wall. No, it looks like that car is still all in one piece. But a big incident with PTG Knuckles and Dino Prime, and it looked like Dino Prime went and took a hard shot into the inside wall. Absolutely pulled that thing down. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and knock out another ad break here under this yellow flag at Daytona. And we'll kind of figure out where everyone's strategy is going to filter out when we get back. All right, welcome back here to Daytona. It seems like we're under a bit of a holding pattern as some drivers, such as Yellow Menace, have yet to actually repair the damage to their cars after that big accident that happened there coming out of turn number 4. It seems like the exit of turn 4 is the big trouble zone. A lot of these drivers who aren't super familiar with how NASCAR handle at these high-speed ovals are really struggling with the car washing out, sliding out from them, and they're hitting the wall, spinning out, and then getting hit by other drivers in the process. The only real safe place seems to be at the very front of the field, which is where PTG Speed, TTJ1, and NFL Racer has been spinning the majority of the day. And we're seeing pit stops here on lap 24. That is a big chunk of drivers, including PTG Speed and TTJ. So when you do the math here, 37 plus 25 would be 62. 62 plus 37 would get you to lap 99. So right now, everyone would be about 2 laps short if they wanted to make it on just one more stop. However, again, with the way that yellow flags are falling, I think that would be a very, very easy thing to do. And even if you can't save just from yellow flag, you could probably save by just running a few laps in the draft. So pitting now might not be a bad strategy if you're planning on going to the end of this race on just one more stop. And speaking of stops real quickly, just want to use the ticker to really give you an idea as to how many times drivers have stopped. Dino Prime has pitted 5 times. Now, he's at least done his strategy twice, has been involved in 2 instances. PTG, Neb, TFB Matter, and NFL Racer all have yet to make their first stop of the day. For NFL Racer, it's really interesting. Look at his fuel and tire. He still has half of the tank left in the car. His tires are only at about 32%. So he honestly, at the rate he's going, NFL Racer could be on track to make this a one-stop race. The big problem, though, is that the main reason he's going to be able to do that is going to be because of yellow flags. And that means he's not really going to get the benefit of being an entire pit stop ahead of everyone else if the yellow flags keep bunching everyone up. And again, if we go green for a large stretch of this race, NFL Racer is going to have to stop leading these laps and is going to have to figure out some other way to save fuel. Ideally, running someone else's draft for a prolonged period of time. Coming down to the line once more. Everyone's doubled up. 3 drivers still have yet to make their first pit stop, so keep an eye on that as we go to the green once more. NFL Racer inside, shoplifting outside. And already 2 cars in the wall. One of them is PTG Speed at the back of the field. Now, I don't know if there's any damage there. No damage to PTG Speed. What of TJ? No damage to him either. So they're able to continue. But it looks like we have a aborted start. Now, I don't know if they're going to reset everyone right back to where they were or what, but we are back under the yellow flag right away after that happened. It looked like Ludicrous Speed was on the inside, drifted high when he put the power down, and cut right across TJ's nose and turned him into the outside wall. But since they were only at about 60, maybe 70 miles an hour, and it was a very, very shallow angle, neither of them really took any damage from the instant, and the field is already bunched up. We're already doubled back up, so I'm guessing they're counting that as just a aborted restart. Everyone goes back to the positions they were in, and they all start again. But for the likes of TJ and Speed and those other drivers who hit under the yellow flag, this should be enough. They should now be in a position that they can go to the end of the race on only one more pit stop, so keep an eye on that. All right, everyone's doubled up once again here. This time we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to actually ride on board with PTG Speed on this restart to really give you ideas to what these drivers are struggling with at the back of these fields at Daytona as we go back to the green flag once again. Immediately, Speed gets a great launch. He goes high, he goes low, he wants to fit into the inside line. They are 3 wide trying to go into turn number 1. It looks like they're just barely going to figure it out, but already PTG Speed goes from last to 9th, and they're not even a third of the way through the lap yet. This may not be over because Speed is right there behind Dino Prime. Shredder is on the outside with no one really helping him at the moment. Is NFL Racer PTG Neb fighting at the head of the field, farther up the grid, but right here, Lucas Speed holding the defensive inside line, just trying to filter his way back up through the grid. Here's PTG Little Caesar on the extreme high line. He's been fast. He's actually led laps early on here, but he has really been struggling in keeping the car under him. Yellow Menace is into the pit now. I'm not sure what's caused that, but he's putting way off sequence to everyone else. And that would likely put him a lap down because he'll be running with no draft. Same thing with PTG Jammer, who has completely lost the field on this restart. This is the second or third time I believe that's happened to PTG Jammer. So now we're starting to see that gridlock on the inside line. The inside line is the safe line. Now a whole lot of stuff goes wrong on the inside line, but you can't make any moves on the inside line. Even when you're on the inside line, it's hard to move up to the outside line to make things happen. When you're on the outside line, you're making things happen. The cars are a lot heavier to control, but it's easier to pop back down into the safer, easier to control inside line. So that's kind of the balance of risk versus reward. The reward and risk are very high on the outside, but the reward is very high on the outside, but so is the risk. The risk on the inside is very low, but so is the reward, unless you are the driver leading on the inside line, like NFL Racer is at the moment. You see Shredder and PTG Little Caesar kind of falling off of PTG Neb at the lead of this field. That outside line only having 3 cars is not working out. Meanwhile, you can see they have, I believe that's 10 cars in a row here on the inside. It's 9 cars on a row on the inside. So yeah, and PTG Jammer is coming to the pits as well. So something's happening to Menace, something is happening to Jammer, and both of them are pitting now in green flag running, not yellow flag running. So Jammer will get trapped the lap down. Menace is still on the lead back now, but how long is that going to last? Field kind of bunches up just a little bit here. As we're right on board with NFL. He's got TFB Matter and that Red Bull Chevrolet absolutely pounding his rear end. Melanie now looks to the inside of Matter. Has Matter been filtered out of position? I think so. They're 3 wide for a lead coming down into turn number 3. Once more, 3 wide. Who's going to back out of it? No one is backing out of it. But the 64 on the extreme inside line does not have the momentum, and he is falling all the way out of the top 5 already. So now it is Matter on the outside with Will Caesar trying to push him, but the outside line just now gets reorganized. Took him about half a lap to reorganize. But now is HYR Melanie on the inside being the one who is pushing NFL Racer here. And the big thing to consider, that shows that Melanie is not willing to just hang out in the inside line and just, let the positions come to her. She is going to get out there, get elbows out, and force the car into positions where no one really thinks it should be to try and get these positions here. Now, doing that on lap 30, lap 31, okay, cool. People are going to be a little bit more tolerant of that. Doing that with 30 laps to go, that's a lot more risky. Doing that with 3 laps to go, that's a recipe to get wrecked here. They're 3 wide again at the lead. This isn't gonna work, boys. Someone's gonna have to back out here. And it's Lil Caesar on the outside, and the 97's around to the back of the field. That is PTG Knuckles. Is there any damage to the car? The rear end is destroyed. But do they stay green? No. That will be a yellow flag for the 97 spinning at the rear of the field. This will be good news for Yellow Menace and PTG Jammer. Menace will be able to cycle around to the rear of the grid, and PTG Jammer will get a lap back as well in the process. So we have not seen any long green flag runs in this event, and that is Shoplifting who is coming in. So I'm guessing that Shoplifting was the other car involved in the incident that had Knuckles involved in it. But anyways, we are going to knock out another ad break here, try to stay ahead of the ads. And when we come back, we'll give you a good idea as to where everyone is when it comes to their strategies. All right, so we see shoplifting and, well, welcome back to Daytona. Shoplifting and Knuckles are coming in to repair the damage to their cars after that instant. We should be going green on lap 35, I imagine. PTG Jammer, who went a lap down, is pitting way off sequence, is now got his lap back and will cycle back to the rear of the grid under this yellow flag here. But of note, at the head of this field, NFL Racer has not made a stop yet. These are the same tires he started on, the same fuel tank he started on. We are a little bit over a third of the way through the race right now. His tires are about 2/3 of the way cooked. You can run the tires confidently here until about 60 to 68%. Different drivers will feel the tires falling off at different percentages depending on how they drive their cars. But basically about 65%. NFL Racer is a little bit more than 2/3 of the way there. But his fuel still got plenty of fuel to go. I do think NFL is on track to potentially make this on a single stop. But like I said earlier, the biggest thing that might be hindering his ability going forward will be that he is looking at a scenario where, yes, he can make it on one stop, but he's not really going to reap the benefits of being an entire pit stop ahead of everyone else on track. With all these yellows keep bunching the field back up, I don't see a way you're really going to be helping anyone out, helping yourself out by skipping the pit stop if everyone is still right on top of you, potentially with fresher tires at the end of the race anyway. So NFL Racer on the one-stop strategy, but it's not looking like a winning strategy because of the way it is potentially going to come about. The big thing is, because of the way the yellow flag rules work, everyone gets to pit, everyone gets to refuel, and everyone gets bundled back up, and we're not really seeing the field truly spread out. Our longest green flag run has only been about 8 or 9 laps. I've watched series that have had way worse stats, but still, it really kind of goes to show that you can't spread the field out. So because of that one little bobble and kind of spiral into a series of incidents, we were lucky that the last accident that happened was at the back of the field. Okay, so as NFL Racer inside, TFB Matter on the outside, with Melanie pushing NFL and Larry pushing Matter as we come to the green flag once again to start lap 35 here at Daytona. Shredder immediately pulls out of line and falls back several positions in the process. But at the head of the field, Matter falls in line behind Melanie, and Larry does the same behind Melanie. So yeah, the top 4 all organized the way to fall in line perfectly. They don't want to be fighting amongst each other, I guess. Might be a smart, strong strategy here. Someone is that Yellow Menace or Knuckles? But someone is way off pace there on the extreme inside. No damage, but Knuckles is incredibly slow on the pace right now. And so is Yellow Menace. I don't know what is going on with this duo. The entire field is just kind of falling apart on this restart. I have no idea what's going on. It's causing these drivers in the back of the field to routinely lose the draft, but it keeps happening time and time again. Primarily these drivers who aren't super familiar with super speedway racing. You would think, put the throttle down when the leader hits the line and use the drift to stay in touch would be relatively easy, but something must be tripping these drivers up. You also see PTG Jammer and Shoplifting have completely lost the pack as well. Nev and Shredder are at risk of losing the pack as well as Speed, so we only have 7 cars in the lead pack right now. The good news, though, is that this has really spread the field out, and this might lead us to have a nice long green flag run, really kind of open up the strategy book here, depending on how long this goes. Dino Prime is in the middle of this pack, and Shoplifting coming into the pits again. This is like 3 laps in a row that Shoplifting has pitted now. I'm not sure what's going on with that car that is requiring him to pit this many times. We're right on board with Dino Prime in the middle of this very, very busy lead pack who has got TJ right behind him. There are 2 cars on the outside, Will Caesar and Matter. On the inside you have NFL, Melanie, Larry, Dino, and TJ. And that outside line just does not seem to have enough stability to truly fight for the lead on merit. Although Matter is doing his absolute best, meanwhile his drafting partner kind of falls off significantly in the corners. Again, everyone runs the exact same setup on the ovals, but how comfortable you are with the setup is going to have a big impact in your ability to perform here. Onto the back straightaway now. Once again, Caesar gets right behind the 91. of Matter is going to give him a great shove down the straight. But Dino, Larry, Melanie, and NFL all tucked up on top of each other, have a much, much better run down the straight. And they're coming up on, I believe that is Shoplifting, that is a lap car. They're going to have to figure out a way to deal with them and deal with them carefully here. It looks like Shoplifting is going to hold the extreme inside and force everyone to go around him on the outside. There are 3 wide for the moment. There's not a lot of room on track, boys. There's still 3 wide almost. They are 3 wide. It matters. They squeeze the outside wall. Little Caesar's going with them. I don't think they they keep it clean, but they've lost the lead draft, and they're not going to fall out of the top 5 positions. And you can see while we rode on board with him just how problematic it got. The big thing is for Shoplifting, this can be good news for him because now he has cycled right in with the lead pack, so he can run with the lead pack, and depending on how things go, he might still have a shot at pulling home a good finish just because he'll be getting a draft from now until either the end of the race or the next caution flag, whichever one of those 2 happens. So Speed, Neb, and Shredder in a 3-car pack of their own, about a second and a half off the lead group right now. But there is a possibility they could run them down. But it's 7 cars in a line on the inside. That is your lead pack at the moment. Here at Daytona, 40 laps in. This could end up being a nice long green flag run. The field is kind of spread out. The big wild card is going to be Shoplifting. He is on the outside trying to hold with the lead group on merit. So that way, he can prove later on, hey, work with me, draft me. I'm still good. Just because I had something go wrong doesn't mean my race is over. I still got this. I look at NFL Racer real quickly. So you're about 10 laps from halfway. That right rear is at 53.7, 53.8%. His fuel is a little bit less than 20%. If you use about 3% a lap, he only has about 6 or so laps. Again, the big thing's really letting NFL save all these laps save all this fuel has been these laps into the yellow flag, but we are in a nice and long enough run, just for the moment at least, that all that advantage that NFL has built up, all these extra fuel that he has saved up, is now evaporating away as he's the one leading this group. And when you are leading a pack like this, you have to keep your foot mashed to the throttle. There is no, oh, I can lift and go, slip and go. Everyone behind is pushing you. Now, granted, there is nothing stopping the NFL from going to the high side, letting the lead pack by, and falling in line behind. But I'm guessing NFL is not willing to do that at the moment. The big thing is, though, everyone is on a bunch of different strategies. Once we see drivers start peeling off and making green flag stops, we don't know who's going to be coming in with them or not. So real quickly, let's go ahead and look at everyone's telemetry here. NFL Racer, 15.4% left in the tank. Melanie, who runs in second, has been involved in some instance already, 58.5% in the tank. TNR Larry B, who is third in line, is at 59%. So Larry and Melanie can go for a while. What about Dino, who is fourth in this lead pack right now? Dino is at 61%, has actually saved a little more fuel than the drivers ahead. PTG Little Caesar was cut back to the group and is now trying to make the outside work again. 38%. So not as good as most of these drivers, but better off than NFL. Then you have TJ, who is on the inside line there behind Dino. TJ is at 56%. So then you go to Matter, who is the last of this lead group of cars. Matter is at 11.3%. Honestly, Matter is going to have to pit in the next lap or two, along with NFL Racer, just because of how quickly they're burning through fuel. And then you go back a little bit more. This is a 3-car pack. They're all just kind of running their own race. Speed, 56% still in the tank. Neb is running with 12% left, so he'll be coming in very shortly as well. And Shredder, who is third in this pack, has 46% of the tank. So this group of 3 is really not organized very well. They're all kind of in their own bizarre scenario where it comes down to where none of them really are confident when they want to pit. Yellow Menace has gone ahead and made their stop now, and they have stopped all by themselves. This could end up being a scenario where drivers who are pitting with other drivers are going to be in a great position. We are now in our longest green flag run of the event thus far. everyone is starting to get really spread out. That is YOLO Menace ahead, who is about to go a lap down. The lead pack goes by without too much issue. I say without too much issue. You can see that we kind of ended up in a scenario where the top four have kind of formed a breakaway a little bit. So that group of Neb, Shredder, and Speed are now in a much, much bigger pack of cars. If something's going to happen chaotically, it would likely be in this group of cars. Again, Matter's going to have to be paying in just a few laps. NFL, who is second right now, is going to have to pit in a few laps. So will Neb. So we're going to see a lot of drivers peeling out onto pit lane very abruptly anytime now. I look at Matter, I look at the tire wear. Look at that. The right rear tire, 64.3%. He's only got 5% left. He'll be able to complete this lap, but another lap after that is going to be a little bit more questionable. Oh, TJ really backing up that inside line. Ludacris on the outside with Shredder and Neb trying to follow. Big thing is, though, that Neb does not really have the ability to stay with this group forever. He's going to have to pit sooner rather than later as well. And now we see Neb coming to the inside line. So they're going to have to pit sometime soon as well. The lead four have kind of stabilized just for the moment. And NFL pitting out of the lead position. Here comes Neb. Here comes Matter. So this could be interesting because these are three drivers all pitting together so that they all work on the draft and all get out at the same time. They could all be in a great position. And we are in a position now where those drivers have pitted. They only have to make one more stop to the end of the day. Pit stop is about 37. Pit stop will give them enough fuel to last about 37 laps here. So your leader now is H-Square Melanie with Lil Caesar and Larry B there, and Shoplifting is the real wild card here because Shoplifting is a lap down but running with the leaders, and he pitted not too long ago, so he can stay out for a while, potentially inherit some of his laps back. Again, we look at the fuel tanks of these drivers here at the front. Melanie is at 45%. Larry B, who runs in second, or third now, is at 47%, so they'll probably pit at almost the exact same time. Then Lil Caesar, who's kind of bucking the trend on the outside all by himself, 25%. So Lil Caesar's not going to be out here for a lot longer. Probably in about 10 laps or so, he'll have to come into the pits. And if you look behind, there's a 4-car pack. Speed, Shredder, TJ, and Dino, they've all found each other, and now this group of four is trying to run down the group of four at the lead. The thing is that neither of these groups of four are really organized in a way that they can really make something of it. Another thing to consider, NFL Racer, when he came out of the pit, he was so far ahead of Neb and Matter that really he's not getting a draft. Now, Neb and Matter are close enough that the two of them could draft and catch the NFL, but they're not in the draft together now, and that could harm him. Little Caesar is pitting now much, much earlier than any of us were really expecting him to, and he is pitting all by himself. Again, pitting all by yourself is a very, very dangerous game. Sometimes it may be the only thing you can do, but when you are pitting by yourself, you will not have drafting. You're just going to lose seconds on top of seconds, lap after lap, and you can end up a lap down or multiple laps down. After a very chaotic early first third of the race, we are now starting to get into a really long green flag run. I'm reminded a little bit of the 2004 Daytona 500. Very similar scenario where it was just very chaotic for the first third of the race. And then after the big one happened, that saw Michael Waltrip flipping a giant dirt devil on the back straightaway grass. Everyone got really spread out, and it was green all the way to the end. No more instants, and everyone was just kind of laying by themselves. In that scenario, it was just two cars fighting to the end. I think we might see more than two cars fighting for the win at the end of this, but still, really a lot of spreading out throughout the entire field right now. Lil Caesar has ended up about 2 seconds ahead of NFL Racer. NFL is about 3 seconds ahead of the duo of Matter and Neb. So that could be a potential 4-car pack that will form later, but right now they are going to be losing time compared to this 4-car pack of Melanie, Larry, and actually that is a 3-car pack now, I should say, of Melanie, Larry, and Shoplifting, and the 4-car pack of Speed, TJ, Shredder, and Dino. And speaking of which, look at this. Ludacris Speed has caught the back of the lead pack. So now we have the top 6 all on top of each other once again. And Shoplifting is right in the middle of this mess as a lap car trying to stay in a position that they can get back on the lead lap immediately, depending on how the rest of this race plays out. Speed trying to be pushed by TJ, but the two of them walked really, really high in turn 1. Melanie holds the inside line. Melanie has been doing Forza races, especially NASCAR races, for a long time, but wins have eluded their grasp for a long time. This could be one of their best shots at it, though. They've got a tremendous pusher behind in the form of TNR Larry B, but PTG Speed is not giving up, and neither is TJ. TJ has won at Daytona. Speed is still looking for his first big points-paying win at Daytona, though. And then you have Shredder and Dino. They could be dark wild cards here, dark horse wild cards for this event. A little bit more than halfway through the event now. Side by side, side by side, side by side. 7 cars, all with a blank under them, 6 leaders, and then 1 driver in the form of Shoplifting, who is a lap down. Still, Matter and Neb have not caught NFL Racer or PTG Little Caesar. In fact, NFL Racer is on track to catch Little Caesar, so we could have 2 packs of 2 cars back there. And then you have Jammer and Knuckles, who are running by themselves, no one around them, which could really end up hurting their ability to factor into the win here. But 6 experienced oval drivers, all with different levels of success here, trying to make something of it. Again, we don't know how much longer it will be until the likes of Larry and Melanie go ahead and duck into the pit lane. 30% left on Melanie's car, but that right rear is absolutely cooked. I look at TJ, who is in second. TJ has 30%, but is on, I think Melanie is on a softer tire compound and has really worn out that right rear. Now, as long as we stay green and she holds a tight inside line, she shouldn't be struggling too much. But I say she won't be struggling too much. She's not going to lose lap time here. The thing is that on big ovals like this, where you're flat out for just about the entire lap, tire wear does not really hurt when it comes to forward momentum. It hurts more with keeping the car in the lane you want. The car's going to want to go tail out and slide out and walk up the track in the corners. Right now, she can probably control it. But 3, 4, 5 laps from now, I don't know about Melanie's ability to control the tires. And again, if you were to pit right now, you would have to pit another time. In a 101 lap race, we are looking at a 37 lap fuel tank. You do the math. 101 minus 37, that's 100 minus 36. 90 minus 26, 80 minus 16, 70 minus 6, that'd be 64 laps, basically. You want to pit on lap 64. And that's assuming you're not saving fuel. You could potentially pit earlier, try to save fuel. But to do that, you'd have to willingly give up track position and run in someone's draft for a long time. And again, that's assuming we don't have any yellow flags. And with the way this group of 7 cars here is running, I'm not saying we won't get yellow flags. I'm not saying we will, but I will say the possibility is still there. Shoplifting is kind of the wild card in this because he is a lap down compared to the leaders that he has pitted the most recently compared to them all. He's at 54% in the tank right now. So Matter, Neb, still on top of each other. NFL Racer still not caught Little Caesar, although he's within a second, so he should be getting the sniff of his draft, basically. And then Neb will be catching them as well, but that'll be a 4-car pack. This is a 6-car pack right now. He's right on board with Shredder, who is running at the back of the field. I think he's just trying to save fuel right now. No one's really pushing incredibly hard. We're not seeing bumper-on-bumper action on the outside, at least. It's a little bit tighter on the inside. I think that's probably just because Larry is really trying to push Melanie forward enough that Melanie doesn't end up pulling up the inside line and giving up too much room. But again, Melanie's right rear tire is absolutely choking away right now. Gotta be feeling absolutely horrendous at the moment. They're at the lead of the pack. Another thing to consider is that those 2 cars ahead of Shoplifting, they will be the ones who will hit first in this pack. And when they pit, Shoplifting needs to immediately filter himself back into the rest of this lead pack. If not, he runs the risk of losing touch with them and potentially letting YOLO minutes catch them all over again. Continuing to watch 4 cars. Well, it's more like 3 cars, and Shredder just kind of jumps into the line that he thinks will benefit him the most. But again, it looks like Shredder is dealing with a little bit of lag, and that is really tempering his desire to make moves. Real quickly, I want to look back in this pack of about 4 cars here. It's not really 4 cars yet. You see Little Caesar and NFL Racer. They're trying to do a little thing called the side draft. Now, in real life, the side draft slows the car who has the nose ahead down, and then you get ahead, and then you start getting slowed down. But this game doesn't have side draft mapped perfectly, and side draft will actually make both cars a little faster. So I wonder if this duo is just trying to use the side draft to try and gain time and close in to the leaders. Meanwhile, you see right behind NFL Racer and PTG Neb just kind of hanging out in a 2-car pack behind, not really doing the same thing. They're just kind of minding their own business on their own strategy right now. Again, 64 is the lap we're expecting. You have to make your stops. And look at that right rear tire, 74.3% for Melanie. The right front is at 69%. Again, I think Melanie will be just fine enough. They won't have to worry about the nose taking off into the wall. It's mainly the right rear that she needs to be really concerned about right now. And Larry, who is the one pushing her right behind her right now, has to be worried about that as well. Because if Larry gives Melanie a bad shot just as the banking picks up or just as the banking drops away, that right rear tire is not going to have the grip to hold on, and it could send that 47 up the track. And then you have TJ, who was leading the outside line but got pushed by and eventually got ahead of Melanie, which has kind of completely changed the formation and the energy of this pack of 7 cars. Now it's a single 7-car pack in a single file train. Right now, this means that TJ is the one in the lead. He's pushing through the dirty air, pushing through the clean air, so he's burning through his fuel a lot faster than everyone behind him. The drivers further back, like Speed, Dino, Shredder, they're all saving a lot more fuel because they are 3, 4, 5 cars behind. They can let off the gas and get back on the gas and save little bits of fuel, all while using the draft to keep up. So they're not losing track position, they're not losing lap time, but they are saving fuel. TJ does not have the advantage. Melanie and Larry kind of are getting it, but their problem is more Melanie's tires. Are Melanie's tires going to last to lap 64? NFL Racer, Neb, Caesar, and Matter, they have all caught each other in a 4-car pack now, a proper 4-car pack. But it seems like Little Caesar is committed to trying to make an outside line work. Kind of cut off their nose to spike the face. Just so willing to try and make the outside work. Might be bleeding away lap time in the process for not just themselves, but the other people in the pack. But, hey, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. Again, I look at Melanie's data. 7.7% left in the tank. So they're not going to be out much longer, but that right rear, 80%. The other thing, 7.7, that's only about 2. You might be able to get 3 laps. I think it's really only going to be about 2 more laps. Melanie could be in trouble. If they have to pit on lap 63 instead of 64, they might be 1 lap short in the final sprint to the end here. The other thing as well is that once we hit that lap 64 point, it's not a matter of, okay, it's 64, everyone pit right away. If you go ahead and pit later, you can make your pit stop slightly shorter by putting less fuel in because you'll have less laps to go. Also, I'm not saying anyone would do it, but you could also make your pit stop slightly shorter if you elected to stay on the tires you were already on. I don't imagine anyone's going to try and do that, but that is a potential strategy you could try and do. SRD Shredder is now pitting out of the lead group, and he is doing it all by himself. Well, that could take Shredder out of contention for this, because Shredder is pitting with no friends. So Shredder would be running who knows how many laps with no one working with them. Still on our longest green flag stretch. We have been green since lap 36, I believe. .47 tucked up behind TJ. So she's not letting that rear tire really concern her, but here we are. Melanie coming in the pits. Is Larry gonna join? No, Melanie's the only one. Melanie does not have anyone joining her coming into the pits. So what of Larry? What is Larry's strategy? How many more laps is he gonna stay out? Well, he's at 6.1, so he could pit at the end of this lap. Maybe he could go a second lap, but I think it's going to be at the end of this lap he'll have to pit. That could really hurt Melanie. Something interesting to consider, after making their stop, Shredder has ended up in that pack that now has NFL, PTG, Knuckles, Neb, Matter, and Little Caesar in it. So that is now a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 car pack. We're about 7th to 12th right now. So with the way this is going, we could see a scenario where that big pack of cars could be the winning strat of cars. And TJ pits! TJ pits, but he pits solo, and now Larry goes back to the lead, but he is running in the draft of Shoplift. He's actually, for the moment at least, put Shoplifting back on the lead lap. So TJ pits, but he has no one to help with, no drafting help right now. Larry is going to have to pit this lap. He'll have to come. Ludicrous speed at 2.7, so Ludicrous speed will be paying this lap. What of Dino? 4.4, so Dino could go maybe another lap after this, but all these drivers have kind of mapped their sequences out to where they're going to have to put a full 100% tank. So any driver who goes a little farther, goes an extra 3-4 laps, could be taking off time in the pits. There's PTG coming into the pits. That's speed. Larry is still not coming to the pits. Larry's only at 1.2%. I don't know if Larry's going to make it all the way around. Larry could have just screwed himself by not pitting that time by. Dino is at 2.5. We know Dino will be able to pit without issue. PTG Jammer is also coming into the pits, but Jammer's kind of running all by themselves right now. So our leader in just a bit is going to be this driver here. Look at this pack of cars. Although Knuckles is going to pit out of this pack of cars. But that is NFL Racer, PTG Neb, TFB Matter, VER TJ, Melanie, Caesar, and Shredder. This is the group that are going to inherit the fight for the lead. The question is, in this group, who does not have to pit again? Who will have to pit again? Larry and Dino in the pits now. So Speed has come out just in front of this group. He's got the fuel to go to the end. So we know he will not have to pit again for the rest of this race. NFL is just behind him though. NFL does not have the fuel to go to the end. This is not looking good for NFL. He will go around the outside, go back to the lead of this pack of cars here. But NFL will have to pit again, so he is not going to be fighting for this win here, I imagine. Neb, who is right behind, also is not going to be fighting for this victory either, I imagine. I imagine the same will be the case for Matter, who's a little bit farther back in this pack. Yeah, Matter is not going to be fighting for us. And there's Larry and Dino. They just come out of the pits right in front of this pack of cars. Look at this. We have run about a third of this race distance now, green, and we still have the top 10 cars all on top of each other in one big pack. But not all of them are really in a true fight for this race win. The big thing is going to be Speed. Speed is running third in this pack right now. Actually, it's starting to be a little bit of a separation. Top four is starting to peel away just a little bit. But Speed is in a position where he has good track position. He doesn't have to worry about fuel. The two drivers ahead, Racer and Neb, they will have to pit at least one more time before this is over. They do not have the fuel to make it to the end here. TJ, Little Caesar having a bit of a scuffle. I'm sorry, that's not TJ and Little Caesar, it's Little Caesar and Matter and Melanie. And Matter seems to be dropping backwards in the order here. And there he comes, Little Caesar storming back up. Little Caesar has shown no hesitation going to the outside. The only downside is that Little Caesar is not on a race-winning pit strategy right now. So this is a 10-car pack at the moment. But as this goes on, we will see the size of this pack whittle down again as drivers start running out of fuel. We could only be looking at 4 to 6 drivers in this group really fighting for this win here. NFL, once again, leading the pack. Shoplifting, still kind of out on his own right now. The big thing for Shoplifting, though, with no drafting help, they are going to end up in the position that when they make their pit stop, they are going to end up completely nowhere. But I think unless something crazy happens, Shoplifting is on track to finish 13th or 14th right now, just because they are spending all these laps now with no drafting help at the moment. This is Dino Prime at the back, or one of the two cars at the back of this pack of cars, the lead 10. Although it looks to the inside of Melanie, trying to make moves on the outside, while on the inside, just trying to pick up positions here or there to be in a better position once drivers start peeling out. Larry in the 67 right ahead, pitted pretty much at the same time. So we know that Larry and Dino are in the best position overall when it comes to fuel and tire life to the end. Right now, all 14 drivers are still on the lead lap, although that's likely not going to hold up. We will see some drivers pitting here in the next few laps and will likely go a lap down as this continues here. But we're going to continue, assuming we stay green to the end, we should see good race-winning pace to the end here. We could be done with this in about 15 to 16 minutes, somewhere around there. The rate we are kicking laps off now. So after a very chaotic yellow flag filled first third of the race, we are under a really, really long green flag run here. Little Caesar continues to be the outlier, holding the outside pretty much solo. Little Caesar knows that he's not really in a position to fight for the win, but he wants to fight for track position at the least. Big issue for Little Caesar is that when he finally does need to come in and make their final stop, it's going to be a lot harder to pit from the outside line compared to the inside line. You'll see the lead group here blitz by. That's PTG Knuckles, who's on their strategy of their own. So is Yellow Mist. The two of them are just hoping to stay on the lead lap. And here come our lead pack. You can see Little Caesar on the outside, really working the Iron Man, trying to make something of it here. Caesar on the outside, solo, trying to pull up alongside NFL. There's no drafting help, and Little Caesar just does not care. I'm honestly really impressed by the commitment he has shown. I got to talk with Little Caesar briefly in Discord before this event started, and Caesar just was not really confident, not really sure on how this was going to work out. I gave him some tips and tricks. I know Shredder's given them some tips and tricks, and it has turned Little Caesar from someone who's been kind of unconfident, not really sure what to do, to someone who's very confident, going out there and really putting his hands on the throat of the field and really trying to fight with them. The strategies aren't going to work out for him, but he has definitely been one of the best fighters here. The top three right now on track, NFL, Nev, and Little Caesar, all three of them are going to have to stop sooner rather than later. So it's going to be Speed, Matter, TJ, Larry, Dino, Melanie, and Shredder. Those are the 7 drivers we're really looking at for contending for this race win right now. We know the top 3 in this pack are not going to have the fuel to go to the end here. And now Shoplifting finally pits out of their position, so we'll likely see Shoplifting drop all the way back to being a lap down. We'll likely end up falling behind this lead pack as well after running so many laps in air completely by themselves. About 26 laps to go here. Top 2, NFL and Nev, are trying to push themselves away from the rest of the field, just trying to get anything to try and help them. The good news for the duo is that when they pit, it will be a really short stop and go, and they'll be good to the end. The bad news, though, is that they are in position that they will go a lap down when they finally make their stop. If not a lap down, they're just going to be slightly ahead of the lead pack. And that's the other thing. If they pit and they end up right in front of the lead pack, they would be fighting amongst the race winner fighters, and they'd be fighting amongst themselves to try and stay on the lead lap. Now, I'm not saying that will happen, but there is a possibility that we end up seeing that being the case here after the next 24 laps are done here. Top 10 have all calmed down into a big single file line. The top 3 just kind of pushing a hole in the air, laying the drivers behind, save fuel. They shouldn't have to save fuel, but just in case you're concerned, you can save fuel now. Don't have to push, don't have to fight really. And once we see that lead trio of NFL, Neb, and Little Caesar pit, the real fight for the win will begin. Ludicrous Speed, now PTG Speed is right now looking like they are in their best position to maybe score their first ever big Daytona points pain win in any series. It has been years. It has been 5 years of looking for Speed, but maybe this could be the time. 16.4% left. If you're burning to about 3% a lap, that's 5. I think the number really is closer to like 2.5. So if it's 2.5 a lap, 6 laps, I think, until NFL pits. Probably 6 laps for Neb. Little Caesar can go a little longer, honestly. Little Caesar has a bit more fuel than the 2-liter. Little Caesar could probably stay out for about 7 or 8 laps, honestly. And then you get to the drivers who we all know should be good. One wild card could end up being Melanie. We don't know what Melanie's tires are going to look like at the end of this. 24% wear already. Compare that to Larry, who pitted a few laps later. 19. Okay, no, Melanie might have actually gotten onto a proper hard set of tires here. The other question could end up being Matter. We don't know where Matter's fuel is until now. Oh my goodness, 13.5. Matter's going to have to pit very soon in this pack. And when Matter pits, it'll put Speed in an interesting position because Speed will have, briefly, a gap between himself and TJ. And TJ, and that's a crash right in front of the field! That's NFL who went hard to the outside wall! Right out of the lead was NFL! A humongous impact on the outside wall! And the entire car is destroyed front to bottom! And we have a caution! With just 22 laps! An NFL racer wrecked in front of the entire field! I don't think anyone else was involved. It looked like he hit the wall, and I don't think anyone else hit him in the process. But a massive multi-car accident. It doesn't look like anyone here has damage. This is really going to upend the field, though, upend everything now. Because all these drivers who were lapped down, who had fallen out of the lead group, now they're all going to go ahead and get a chance to pit. Now all those drivers who were lapped down, they get a lap back. And this lead pack now all ends up in a position where they start fighting. And again, look at this. Our lead two, they still, even with these yellow flag laps, they do not have the fuel to go to the end. They would have to be using 0.5% of fuel a lap to the end of this race to have a shot at winning this. Right now, Neb and Little Caesar are not in a position to win this race. But if they choose to stay out, they could really throw a monkey wrench into how the rest of this race plays out here. NFL will get into the pits now, but this is going to be likely a long yellow flag process. So we're going to knock out an ad break here at Daytona. Welcome back to Daytona. Stops have gone underway. PTG Speed is your leader. Lil Caesar and Neb both had the sense to pit under this yellow flag. So they're going to be at the back, in the middle to back of the field on fresher tires. Melanie went ahead and pitted as well. So did PTG Knuckles, who had just caught the lead group before that pit stop. TFB Matter will also go ahead and pit. Shoplifting and YOLO Minutes have now also caught the back of the grid. And NFL Racer will catch the back of the grid on this lap. So I anticipate we should be going green this time by here. And it's now PTG Speed, who leads with Larry B in second, Dino in third. Not started doubling up yet. The entire field's here, but they have not yet started doubling up. There we are. Now they're starting to double up. So after that yellow flag, all of a sudden, all 14 cars, irregardless of strategy, are back in the middle of the fray. Speed has led a significant chunk of laps, but Larry has been one of the strongest pushers all day. There will be 20 to go when they hit the line here at Daytona. Green flag is underway once more. Speed opens up a bit of a gap on Dino right away. Dino actually moves ahead of Larry. So Larry falls in line to third, but the back of the field really chaotic back there. Shoplifting, struggling to make something happen. YOLO Menace seems to have already had something go wrong. The car is already destroyed and we've barely gotten any distance. The lead group is already going, though. So we stay green by the looks of it. Whatever happened to YOLO Menace may have been solo. SRG Shredder trying to go around the outside of Little Caesar, trying to make him move on the outside. Larry looks high, won't commit to it, falls back in line. Is Dino pushing ludicrous speed on the inside? Shredder looks like might be touched. No, and now here comes Shredder to the extreme outside with no drafting help. Has got the car almost all the way ahead. Going into turn one, they're still side by side through two. Now into the backstretch. Shredder trying to make something happen. The thing is, that car has been looking very laggy today, and very few people want to work with a laggy car. Shredder does not seem to care. He is committing to the outside line right now. Dino holds the inside, though, as being a nice, reliable pusher for Ludacris. Just about nose to nose between Speed and Shredder at the line. But Shredder has no drafting help. Ludacris has 3 cars lined up behind. As the 14 of TJ looks high, looks low, they're considering going with Shredder, but no one seems to really want to commit to that move. We know everyone in this pack will be good on fuel to the end, although the lead 6 in this pack, the lead 5 in this pack will be dealing with some tire fall off at the very end, but not enough to really take them out of the fight. So TJ has elected to be the sacrificial lamb, has pulled up behind Shredder, and will be the one to try and push the 10 to the win. Is the number 10 on the outside, the number 40 on the inside. Is Ford versus Chevrolet. Oh, and Shredder is knocked into the wall. And the car is destroyed. And Shredder's bad luck from the Torah Indy 500 follows him now to Daytona. They stay green, though. And with Shredder knocked out of contention, now Ludacris may have an even stronger threat, because now no one has to worry about pushing a laggy car. You just could be pushing. So Ludacris Speed on the inside. Dino still pushing him, but now it is Larry being pushed by PTG Neb. 2 cars on the outside, but you got a line of about 6 cars on the inside. Shredder coming into the pits now. Ludacris leads. Larry in second. Ludacris has been looking for this so many times. He's been in this position plenty of times before. He's been wrecked in the last 3 laps. He has had a great car, a great run, but had a losing track strategy. He's just been nowhere near the front. He's disconnected. One time he was leading going into turn 3 on the final lap, but made door-to-door contact with another car that washed both of them into the outside wall, and he only got 4th. He has come up second as well. He's looking to finally try to turn this around. The top 5 have kind of broken away from the rest of the field just a bit. It is Speed, Dino, TJ on the inside, Larry and Neb on the outside. The inside line seems to be a little bit stronger at the moment. Another thing to consider, they could catch lap traffic in the form of Yolo Menace in the next few laps here. No guarantee, but that is a possibility. And Menace's position could really have a massive shakeup on how this group is ordered. When they hit the line, there will be 14 laps to go. Little Caesar, Matter, and Melanie are in a 3-car pack a little farther back, but they are not organized. Same thing with the pack between Shoplifting, NFL Racer, Knuckles, and Jammer. It seems like unless we have another yellow flag, the winner has to come from this lead 5 group. Now I have to say one more thing. Once we start lap 99, there will be no more yellows, even if there is a big track blocking accident. The last 3 laps are mandatory to run green. There is technically a way around that. There is a way we could see a single green-white checkered shootout. But otherwise, anticipate once we start lap 99, we have to go green to the end, regardless of what happens on track. The outside line with Larry and Neb seems to be falling apart just a little bit. They do not seem to have the stability they need. But now the lead group comes up on Yolo Menace. Lap traffic. What line is he going to hold up? Does he hold up the inside line? Does he hold up the outside line? Oh, wow, Larry very nearly gets turned by Neb going into 1. Ludacris gets a big toe off of Yolo Menace. He's going to want to try and clear him around the outside as quickly as possible. Dino moves up high as well, and Ludacris is by. Dino is by. TJ is going to go all the way to the extreme inside, but doesn't have any help. But he has a tighter line around, and he'll maintain his position in the end because Dino came up and blocked the run from the outside duo. Larry and Neb actually lost the most ground off of that. Larry on the outside. No one working in for him right now, though. Neb seems to be content to settle in line in 5th for the moment. And now Yolo Menace is the 6th car in this pack. But I don't think he's really in a position to play spoiler for this. Although, as I say that, he gets right to that left rear quarter panel of Neb and pushes Neb up the wall just a little bit. Shredder is another few seconds up the road, but with only 11 laps left when they get to the line, I don't know if they're going to catch Shredder before this is over. Larry's got another run. Neb is there pushing him. So despite dealing with traffic, our top 5 are back in the positions where they were before they caught traffic. Little Caesar pits out 6th position. Something has gone wrong with Little Caesar. So that will likely not drop him out of a lead lap finish. Could actually turn him into more lap traffic for this group of 5 to deal with here. Larry has Neb behind. Neb is trying to be a reliable pusher, but the two of them just do not seem to be hooked up very well. Now, the inside trio of TJ, Dino, and Speed are not super well hooked up either. Are we under yellow again? Yes, we are. We have another caution. With 11 laps to go, it will be 10 at the line. And this reshakes up everything all over again. And for Ludacris Speed, who looked like he was in a perfect position, he's got to be throwing his arms up in frustration, screaming, "Are you kidding me?" He just needs to hold his line. He was looking like he had a good enough car to do it, but now everyone's tucked up behind. And all it takes is a bad push on the restart, and it could completely derail him. We're going to knock out what should be our last ad break of the race, and then we will say with you to the checkered flag here at Daytona. Welcome back to Daytona. We are anticipating it will be 8 laps to go when they finally take the restart here. So we're going to see them go another lap around here. That has been a very, very wild and strange race. Many of the races we have seen at Daytona for these NASCAR-like events have had lots of chaos early on, but then the field gets spread out, and it stays spread out basically to the end, but that does not seem to be the case here today. Today, after a long 44-lap green flag run in the middle third of the race, yellow came with about 20 to go, about 23 to go. And then we've had another yellow afterwards, although we did not catch what the cause of it was that time. Everyone lined up single file. They'll start doubling up probably when they get to turn 3. Will be PTG Speed on the inside, Larry B on the outside. Dino will be pushing Speed on the inside, and Neb will be pushing Larry on the outside. TJ will be on the inside. That has been the order. That has been the position the top 5 were when the yellow came out. So they're basically going to be right back where they were. But now it's going to be not at speed, but they're going to have to be rushing their way up through the gears. Larry, a champion, a race winner in many different disciplines. Dino, he's the defending champion in IFEA's NASCAR series. PTG Speed, he's won plenty of races, but not at Daytona. Dino has yet to win at Daytona. I don't think Larry's won at Daytona either. Neb has had some success on ovals, but that was open wheel cars at Indianapolis. He'd like to try and replicate that here at Daytona. Then you have Shoplifting, who's going to be restarting 6th on the outside. Shoplifting was a lap down twice at this race, but now he could be an outside threat for this race win. 14 cars all in it to fight as they come to the line. 8 laps to go here once again at Daytona. Speed pulled out an easy lead going into turn 1, but the outside line is already bunched up. The inside line's not very well organized. Now they organize. Only once they get to turn 2, now the outside line is falling apart. Larry's got a bit of a push. Does Dino come up and block? Does Dino come up to try and get a push from the outside to fight with Speed? Or does Dino just hold station saying, hey, I'll take 2nd in a race that he didn't know if he was going to be running an hour before the green? It looks like that's the answer. Dino stays in line behind Speed. Larry is being pushed, but it is not by Neb. It is now by Shoplifting. Shoplifting has been one of the strongest pushers in the first third of the race, and now he's going to have another shot at it again. Speed let the inside line open for Dino just a little bit there. Just for a moment. But then he came down and shut the door. It's still 3 cars on the outside, but you got about 6 cars tightly bunched up on the inside. Thing is, they're so tightly bunched up, I feel like they're honestly taking momentum away from each other because they keep backing off to not run over each other. Shoplifting wants to make it 3 wide for 2nd. 3 wide for a lead. They're 3 wide coming into turn 3. Speed holds the inside line. Shoplifting, no one is working with them. Larry's trying to hold it middle lane. He's got Neb right behind. Somehow they keep it clean, and they're still 3 wide. Shoplifting has not lost the position yet. They're coming back. They're 3 wide and line again. 6 to go. That outside line is a single car line. It's one guy all the way out there, Shoplifting all by himself, but he is not giving up. Neb can't figure out to work with Larry or to work with Shoplifting, but now they're slowing each other down. The inside line's really got some order built up. They get a good run off the banking. They're able to pull alongside 3 wide to lead into 3, but those outside 2 lose so much ground in 3 and 4. There'll be 5 to go at the line. Shoplifting's got the nose ahead. At the line, who's it going to be? I think it was Shoplifting, but just barely. Shoplifting has no drafting help. but he's trying to make the extreme outside line work, but now he has bled off a bunch of position and a bunch of speed in 3 and 1 and 2. Now Larry comes up. He blocks Shoplifting. Shoplifting goes to the extreme outside again. Still no one wants to work with him. Still he's got to run. Larry's the leader of the 3 as they go into turn 3 this time. And again, Shoplifting bleeding off time. So now it's starting to go back to the 5 that was before the most recent yellow. Larry versus Speed. Larry outside, Speed inside. Is still Dino pushing Speed, and still Neb, although no, here comes Shoplifting again. Again, he gets his massive runs out of the banking as letting him get his nose ahead when you get into the corners. If they stay 3 wide like this all the way to the end, Shoplifting might play spoiler. If he gets a great run, he might be able to steal the win from Larry and Speed. No one in this group seems to be able to pull away, and now Shoplifting has drafting help. That is Lil Caesar. They're 3 by 3. There are more cars on the inside line, but they can't seem to make something work to really pull away. The outside line is getting such a big push, such a big run coming off the banking. This time at the line, who's the leader? It was Larry. I don't know. I think it was Larry, but I can't really say. And again, Shoplifting has his nose ahead as they enter turn 1. If this was Talladega, that strategy would work. But it's Daytona. The start-finish line is right in the middle of the tri-oval. I don't think Shoplifting has gained enough, and he finally backs out of it. He finally falls in line. So it goes back to just being 2 lines. It is lap 99. No more yellows to the end. Larry outside. Speed inside. Speed trying to do something he has been fighting for and lost at for 5 years in a row. Larry could play spoiler. Out of 4, to line. It's got to be a dead heat once again. Who's got it? That time I think it was just Speed, but it was only by 4 thousandths of a second. 2 laps left here at Daytona. And here comes Shoplifting again, out of nowhere. He was 5 positions back, and now all of a sudden he's coming back on the outside. And Neb is working with Shoplifting. Is Larry going to get caught in the sucker hole? No, he wiggles. Shoplifting backs out. Now the 2 of them both bleed off a bunch of speed here. Trying to come back. But Lucas has the nose ahead. Not as much as you think, though. Shoplifting still trying to make that extreme outside line work. Dino gives the 40 a huge shove. And Shoplifting sideways. He's sideways, and that's going to split up the field a bit. He saved it. They did not go around. But he falls off the lead group. White flag in the air. Larry has no help. There's no one on the outside to work with him. Here comes TJ. Now TJ comes to the outside. He'll work with Larry. It's a drag race. They're beating and baiting in 1. They're beating and baiting in 2. Speed comes up. Tries to block Larry. Here comes the run from TJ. Larry has the nose ahead. Here comes the car on the extreme outside. That's Shredder. Shredder gives Larry a huge push down the straightaway. Larry on the outside. He's got the nose ahead. They're 2 by 2 at the front, 3 wide right behind. Dino gives Speed a big push. This is it, the sprint to the finish. Ludacris has the car ahead. Here comes Larry to the outside. It's going to be a drag race. A 2, maybe 3 wide finish. At the line, who's going to be? I think it was Ludacris Speed. Maybe. Maybe. I cannot tell who that was. But they were right on top of each other. Bumper to bumper, but it looked like Larry did not have the push he needed. The game says it was a dead heat. The victory margin between the 2 of them would have to go down to the thousandths of a second. We don't know for sure yet. We'll wait for other video footage to confirm, but it looks like it was Speed. We're going to knock out an ad break here, and then we're going to reach out and try to get interviews with some of our top finishers here at Daytona. All right. Let me check the stream settings just to make sure you'll be able to include your audio. Yeah, you should be able to. Okay. I'm knocking out an ad break here. Once that's over, I'll start interviews proper. Excuse me. Make sure you have your audio not included. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Daytona. We have completed 100 miles of racing here. A very interesting race. Had a lot of highs, a lot of lows, a lot of incidents, a really long green flag run at the end, and a close bumper-to-bumper finish that goes down probably to the thousandths of a second. Unofficially at the moment, we'll have to check video footage later, but unofficially, it looks like the race winner is PTG Speed. Speed, go ahead, include your audio. Finally, it's been over 5 years at this point. Honestly, it's been closer to 7 years at this point. But finally winning one of these big points-paying races at Daytona. What do you have to say about that entire event?
Oh my gosh, what a race. The start of the race was admittedly crazy shaky, a lot of wrecks, just had to keep the head down, stay in the front. As much as I wanted to fuel save, I just knew I didn't want to get involved in it back there. Got a couple lucky breaks with yellows shortly after pitting, I believe, maybe not, I'm not sure, but point is, by the end of it, I had 10 laps of fuel to go. Those last 2 cautions, I was on the line after my last pit stop. Those 2 yellows helped me get over. I finished with like 10 laps of fuel to go. But hot damn, how about it, huh? 7 years! 7 years of trying at this place. Got a username change then, total repaint on the car, new car even. It's like all the bad luck has gone away, and I'm finally winning one of these things.
One heck of a win at that, I will say. Again, the post-race results only go down to the 100th of a second.
Oh.
And it suggests at least that difference is only about a 10th between the two of you. Or, I mean, less than a 10th, less than a 100th, honestly. What do you think was it that got you that win and was able to keep you from going into the wall? Because obviously, yes, you were side by side at the checkers, but for that entire final restart, you were 2, sometimes 3 wide, multiple laps in a row. How in the world did you guys not go into the outside wall like that?
I gotta give massive props to Larry. I think that may have been shoplifting on the far outside. I wasn't
shoplifting.
I was too scared to look. Hell of a drive by those 2 guys. Those 2 guys held their lines beautifully, and they're part of the big reason why we got through that. Everybody who was behind us played nice. Genuinely, it was a full field effort to get to the end of that without a caution fest. It was fantastic. What helped me win this thing, I think, ultimately was shoplifting, staying on the outside. I saw Larry a couple times. He'd get that run and would shoot to the far outside to maintain that momentum, so I couldn't draft him. But if I went with him, I knew Dino was going to go up the inside and I'd be in the middle. So shoplifting, staying on the outside, keeping that lane away from Larry, I think really helped. When he stayed on the outside, I had Larry by a wheel every time we came across the line. So it worked out somewhat. I don't know what happened. Suddenly the 3 wide just broke apart behind me. I don't know who shoved who into who, but that momentum was killed, and Larry stayed next to Dino, so Dino couldn't make a move, and they just ran out of time. I couldn't ask for a better lineup of scenarios.
I do have to ask, did you work with Dino on some sort of strategy or plan at some point in the race? Because it seemed like after that lap 80 caution, the 2 of you were hooked nose to bumper. I don't think I saw a single time where his bumper was not on your rear end. Was that planned? Was that strategy?
No, that was not planned or strategy. My 3 teammates, they raced hella hard too. from what I understand, I don't know where they finished. I have to look at the results, but I wanted to work with them, but I was just separated from them the entire time outside of a couple of situations. Neb was in front of me when I was in third with NFL in front of him, and I told him I'm going to go with him wherever he goes, but he said I can't make it. So I tried to work with them, but that's just super speedway racing, you know. Sometimes you can't get near your guys, and you just got to do what you got to do. But they did great. I think they did a phenomenal job, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do as a group in Miami into week 2.
All right, 13 more races left in the season. Next week is Miami, another oval, but a completely different kind of oval. You get a good win here. What do you think your chances are for the championship?
That's tough. You know, it's a super speedway, so you really can't say anything. But you know, I know I'm reasonably good at the road courses. Miami, I'm pretty solid at. Indianapolis is another track that's given me trouble, but I usually finish good there too. So you know, usually a win is one big piece in the whole puzzle. You know, so I think I'm on a good path here.
All right, well, finally, you've broken the curse that's gone on for about 7 years. Congratulations for finally making it happen. Now you got to put that behind you, and now you got something bigger to focus on, a title. We look forward to talking to you over the next few weeks. Now I want to talk with our second place finisher, TNR Larry B. Larry, a champion in many different kinds of disciplines in this game, race winner on many different kinds of tracks and many different kinds of cars, but in the end, by the looks of it, just a few thousandths of a second short of winning here at the high banks of Daytona. Walk us through that race that got you to that incredibly close finish from your perspective.
From lap 1, I was really thinking fuel economy. I mean, I pretty much pit under almost every caution before halfway, and I think I was just kind of thinking, there was a money lap in my head I was trying to hit to stop, and then to make a pit stop and then not have to pit again. I think that was like 65 or 66, and I was just like, if I can get there on fuel, then, you know, I'll have a shot at this thing. I think it worked out like that. I started coming to pit road, so I came out around the back of the pack, but a caution ended up bailing me out anyway, and I started second on the last couple of restarts, and I had PTG Neb behind me, and he was giving me a heck of a push. I was trying to line up how I was going to beat Allen to the flag. Pretty much every time we came to the line those last 10 laps, I was just trying to line it up, and I think come to 2 to go, I had it. I think I knew if I kept Ned behind me, I'd be able to beat him, but then that wreck happened behind us coming to the white. I was like, heck. So I was just hugging to that inside line as close as I could, hoping I could get another pusher behind me, and then off of 4, I was just a little too far back to get there. So happy to finish second, but man, that was a bummer.
Yeah, shame to not be able to start the season off with a win. But next week is Miami. Different kind of oval. You know, you actually have to get off the loud pedal a little bit there. Different kind of strategies as well. What are your anticipations for your results at Miami next week?
To be honest, it's never been one of my strong suits, but again, really, I just try to think, you know, just be there at the end, you know, with these oval races. You just gotta be there at the end, because there's usually a late yellow anyway, so if you keep yourself in it, you got a shot. I don't think I'll be in the contention for a win next week, but I think I'm definitely aiming top 5.
All right, and then what about the bigger championship? We know you're great in GT cars, JGTC cars. We've seen you do great runs in prototypes, 1970s and 1980s types of GTOs. We know you're good on twisties. Do you feel confident in your ability to set up and tune cars on the road courses and use that as a springboard to get you to a championship?
I haven't really raced these cars much on this game yet, but you know, I'll go to work on it. I'm gonna really hit the try and hit the ground running here, get a setup working, and hopefully, what's the first road course? Watkins?
I believe it is Watkins, yes.
I think a baseline setup there will probably. I think I should have a good baseline setup there, and we'll go from there.
All right, well, we'll be looking forward to what you can do across the rest of the season. Thanks for jumping in and talking with us. Yeah, it's not a win, but that was a heck of a finish you put on to the end there, and we want to thank you for that at least. We'd like to talk with our third place finisher, but they insist on not using the mic, so we want to go ahead and talk with our fourth place finisher, SRD Shredder. Shredder, what a race. Started up front, almost immediately gets shunted to the outside wall, fall back. You get to the front several times, you fall back several times, get wrecked out of the front pack at least twice, and in the end you still come back to take fourth. What do you have to say about that ridiculous race?
I mean, the typical me starting on pole demons came back to haunt me in a big time. For whatever reason, the game decided that running at 30 FPS would be something that I wanted to do randomly throughout the race. So every now and then, I'll just stop on track, and anyone behind me would just shove me into the wall. They wouldn't get affected; it'd just be me dying. So I was trying to stay. I was trying to stay high line. Just so anyone because most people stay low. I was trying to stay high by myself, so I couldn't get major bumps or anything. But every now and then someone got behind and the game sneezed. I got thrown into the wall, and I got really lucky with the final caution because I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it on fuel or not. So banged into the pit stop, put some mediums on, and then just put some fuel in, and then got really lucky with a run at the end. I was thinking about playing it safe and just coming home and getting some points, and I thought if I die, I die, and just full sent it and nearly had it for a lead, but I got a late block from that on the back stretch, and I had no momentum beyond that because it's got no one behind me.
All right, fourth place finish here. You also get the bonus points for pole. Next week will be Miami, circuit you've won at before. But that was in a different game with a different kind of car build. What are your anticipations at what you can do at Miami, and what are your anticipations for the championship as a whole going forward?
I mean, Miami's Miami. You can do well, but if one person decides that you don't do well, then that's what's going to happen. And championship, and can't really say much based on one race at Daytona because that is just whoever gets the luckiest person wins the race. So I can't really draw much from that.
All right, well, I appreciate your blunt honesty on that. We'll definitely be looking forward to more stuff from you going forward. I believe that will pretty much wrap up our post-race interviews. No one else has been able to jump in and talk with us. I really wanted to talk with Shoplifting and see what his perspective was on trying to hang the extreme outside 3 wide for so many laps. But it looks like that will be it. So until next time, I have been your host, Insane Leader 13. In a week's time, we will be back at Homestead, Miami for the next race in PTG's NASCAR season. Until then, farewell and goodbye, everyone.